Hey, my name is Eric. I am the Profit Architect, and I'm here to talk to you about this fancy new thing called zero-party data, or as I like to call it, asking your customers questions and using that to sell them stuff. It's not nearly as groundbreaking as they make it out to be, but with the fact that a lot of cookies and pixel data is being restricted or distorted, they're making it seem like this is the next groundbreaking thing of everything. So I found an article here. It just came out. This will probably be the next big push of marketing agencies and marketing consultants. They'll be talking about how amazing zero-party data is. And I'm here to tell you the truth about this is that for the most part, it's crap. And I'll tell you as to why. And like I said, the most part, not all of it, but like 80%. And I've got some actual data to back that up, along with how you shouldn't buy into this hysteria. And of course, the fact that everybody loves jargon, which is why it's here. So let me get into this article here, which is what I found. And let's see, here we go. All right, so this is the how to scale your business using zero-party data. And it is this article by Design Russian. No hate on them. I know they're trying to like help and stuff like that, so it's perfectly fine. So in this, they say zero-party data is information consumers willingly share with a brand. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a brand. It's willingly share with you. So it's you asking them a question and them telling you. This could also be feedback. Hey, I hate your product. Or they think your face is stupid. Whatever. That's all zero-party data. It just means straight from their mouth to you, as opposed to getting it from these other places. So to understand, this is how they define it. It's a term coined by Forrester Research as recently as 2020. So they just made facing jargon up for this is what it is. It's distinct from other types of consumer data. First-party data, which is collected from customer behaviors and interactions. This will come up again later, mind you. Zero-party data is explicitly provided by the customer. Like I said, you ask them, what's your name? It's like if you put a form and you say name and email, that's zero-party data that you're getting, okay? They say it's more accurate and reliable, and yes and no. There are a lot of people who put falsities down or put things that they believe you want to hear down, or they put down the best version of themselves, but it doesn't really relate to them. Like I said, I'll get into the why this is very iffy about that, right? And they're saying, let's see, they're saying that the reason for this is you're losing data across the board, but people still want personalized experiences. So everybody's opting out of that, like, hey, make these things tailored to my experience, but they still want it tailored to their experience. I think where this falls short is people are opting out of the tailor my advertising experience to me because they feel like that's tracking them, even though it totally is, and they're still being tracked. But they think they're opting out of that. This is acting like, oh, but they don't want a personalized, but they still want a personalized experience. Yeah, if I go somewhere, I still want it to show like my name when I log in. That's a duh. So they're confusing a couple things. Look, they even got a fancy acronym: ZPD strategy in place. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, accuracy and trust, privacy, compliance, better personalization. Yes and no. Personalization has been around before zero-party data. But like I said, this is where it gets a little iffy. So let me see where they describe the difference between them. So they say first-party data is collected from customer behavior and interactions. Second-party data is first-party data acquired from a trusted partner. So it's like if you team up with somebody, if you're like, hey, let me email your email list, that would be considered second party data. Third party data is the like the pixel. If I'm using a Google Pixel to gather data on your customer, that would be considered third party data. Although some of that falls into the first party data. If you're using that pixel to track what your customers are doing, it's customer behavior that you're analyzing, but you're analyzing it through a third party tool. It's a bunch of gibberish, basically. Like I said, they make these kind of things confusing on purpose, which is kind of annoying, but that's just what they do. Now then it goes to, hey, zero-party data allows us to create a single unified view of your customers combined with behavioral insights. So real quick, what do they consider behavioral insights? Because I know what I consider behavioral insights, but what do they consider behavioral insights? So they say there's 4 types of consumer behaviors, which really there isn't, but it's okay. So they say there is complex buying behavior, which is a customer is deeply invested in making the right decision and has done their due diligence by conducting thorough research. Dissonance reducing buying behavior, so find themselves torn between 2 or more options that seem equally appealing, but they're not sure which. Habitual buying behavior. So I always buy from this place, so I'm going to buy from this place again. It's more convenience. They say it's brand loyalty. It could also be not knowing what other options there are, and so they go to the one thing that they go to over and over. They refer to these as like loyal customers, and they're price sensitive, and they're past. I don't know. It's convenient, and even then, this habitual buying behavior doesn't really exist if alternatives show up in their past. So this is, yes, it's habitual, but it's more like this is where they know they can get something. And even then, sometimes I forget. Variety seeking buying behavior, which is, oh, even though they have a place they like to go to, they branch out, and then they have a bunch of these factors here. Now, real quick, I wanna discuss with you what this actually is, and that is, if you go back in time to Eugene Schwartz and Breakthrough Advertising, which I highly recommend you either pick up from the library or find a copy or somewhere. It is the 5 stages of awareness. They say there's 4, there's actually 5. And they didn't bring up the 5th one because it's the most expensive. So what they are, we'll start with the one furthest away from you. That is the product unaware. That's stage 5. It's also the most difficult to get into. According to Eugene Schwartz, this is the prospect is either not aware of his desire or his need, or he won't honestly admit it to himself without being led into it by the ad, or the need is general and amorphous. So there's resists being summed up in a single headline, or it's a secret that just can't be varnished. For example, if you're out on the street and you're like, hey, we've got penis enlargement surgery, you're probably not going to get a lot of people to respond to that because it is something that is probably a little bit secret for those men there, right? I don't know about times nowadays, it might change, but that's just one example. There are a lot of things that people will consider, maybe they're embarrassed by it or they're ashamed of it, so they don't want to outwardly admit it. So depending on where they see the ad will depend on whether they respond to it or not. All the rest of it, for the most part, though, when we're talking about problem unaware, we're talking about people who have no clue that they have this as a actual problem, because it's more like an annoyance. It's there, but they hadn't really thought about it. Let me go to stage 4, which is the, let's see, process is not a desire, but a need. Hang on one second. So stage 5 is the problem aware. It just took me a minute to remember. Hooray! Problem aware is they don't necessarily have a desire for something, but they have a need because of the problem. It recognizes the need is immediate, but they don't yet realize the connection between the products that can solve their problem and themselves. So maybe they have an issue that they're trying to get resolved, such as their shirt is torn, or they need like their shoes falling apart. They've got a problem. They don't really necessarily immediately know what the solutions are, but they're like, hey, I need to get this taken care of. So that's stage 4. And then after stage 4, we go into stage 3, which is the solution aware. Now, solution aware is people who, if I get here, they recognize the needs immediate, right? And they want what the product does, but they don't know that there is a product. So like the problem aware is, I've got a problem, I don't even know if a solution exists for it. Solution aware is, I have a problem, I know there's a product that exists for it, but I don't know what product to get. Okay, like they'll probably look around for it, they're not sure if the ones they're finding will actually solve their problem or not. And then we go into product aware. And product aware, to sum it up by good old Eugene Schwartz, is he's completely aware of what your product does, but he isn't convinced on how well it does it. Okay? Or hasn't yet been told how much better it does. So now it's like, okay, so solution aware is, I know that there are products out there, but I don't know which ones they are. I don't know where they are. I don't know if they'll actually help me. Product aware is, okay, I see the options available to me, but I don't know which one does a better job of fixing this than the other. And the last one is the most aware. And the most aware is somebody who knows it's your product that they want, knows that your product will take care of their problem, but they haven't pulled the trigger yet. This is like adding a product to your cart and not clicking checkout. Right? I know I want this, it'll take care of my issue, but for whatever reason, they don't click checkout. These are the kind of people that need a reason to buy. So usually say you remind them that they need it. You could send out retargeting ads or emails. A lot of times people say, oh, give them a discount to push them over the edge. That's a possibility. Or other times you just need to highlight their issues and how this is going to fix it. But this is, they've decided they want to buy your product, they just haven't pulled the trigger yet. Now, if we compare that to what they're saying here, right? The complex buying behavior serves deeply invested in making the right decision, has done their due diligence by conducting thorough research to compare their options. This is a product-aware consumer, is what they're talking about. When you talk about a dissonance reducing, this is someone who finds themselves torn between two or more options. So maybe I guess if I say complex buying, because it's a different version of it, you could say that they're eyeing your product and they've decided that's the one they want to go with, but they don't want to buy. So that's the most aware. On the context of this, there's some nuance, right? The dissonance reducing, that's the product aware. They know that your product exists along with a couple others. They just haven't made the decision on which one they want to go with. The habitual buying behavior, this is kind of a solution aware and most aware person, meaning they've got a problem, they found a product that solves it, and so they're going through that issue of using that product. However, they haven't necessarily identified your product as the penultimate product for their problem. Meaning, these are really good people to get in front of with your product because you know they're buying this product. They just haven't made the decision that the one they're buying is the best for them. So you can offer yours that has better options, better incentives, better features, better whatever to get in front of them, right? That's kind of what they're saying here. The variety seeking behavior, this is a solution aware person. This is like they know they have a problem. They know there's a bunch of options out there, but they haven't necessarily settled on one that they want to buy. So there's a lot of nuance, right? And then they go into all this other crap. It's not crap, but it kind of is crap. Let me see. You guys didn't see any of that. All right. So that was, let me go back to here. So I know I covered it briefly, but that was, like I said, so that was this stuff. This is the most aware. This is problem aware. This is probably somebody who's solution aware, but is most aware of your product that you can get in front of. And, you know, this one's also like solution aware, right? Or problem aware. No, they're solution aware. This doesn't address problem aware people or the unaware people. Now, honestly, I would say don't even worry about going after unaware people because it's a very expensive market to get in front of to convince somebody they actually have a problem and then convince them that your solution is the answer to the problem you've now told them that they have. Even though they have it, they just haven't seen it as a problem. So that's what this breakdown is coming. So that's where it's saying that this helps, which I think is just kind of silly because you're either, if people are in your ecosystem, they're either product aware or most aware, right? They're either choosing between you and a couple customers, or they're choosing you. They just haven't decided to make the purchasing behavior yet. Now, then it goes into, oh yeah, you know, you can scale with this because you have this well-structured customer profile and you can leverage AI and automation. Yes, you can do all that. Here's where I have a problem with it, right? Getting zero-party data, and it says getting it right. So these are the options. It says use surveys and quizzes. This is zero-party data because you're asking them for an answer and they're telling you. Loyalty programs is first-party and sometimes third-party data if you're using a third-party loyalty program. This is based on buying behaviors. Oh, they bought these products. So that isn't the customer explicitly saying, I want these products. This is watching their behavior, which according to their own idea of what first party data is, right? So that's under here, first party data, which is collected from customer behaviors and interactions, which is what a loyalty program is observing their behavior and their interaction with your storefront. That's why I said there's a bunch of holes in this, right? But they make it sound fancy. Preference centers. So this is somebody saying, I like to be communicated this way or that way, according to what they say here in the article. And that would be considered zero party because they're telling you, I want you to communicate with me over email. But that a lot of times that's a falsity, meaning just because they say that doesn't mean that's the best way to get them to buy from you. And then customer support interactions, which in a sense could be zero party data. That's like I said, it's like somebody calling you and being like, I think you guys are stupid. I hate your product. It lit my couch on fire or whatever. Right. A lot of times because we're not using that data to necessarily affect the buying practice with our customer, as opposed to making improvements with our product and then relaying those improvements to our customers or to our potential customers. So it's a little bit more like first party data. All right, these are the behaviors and interactions they've told us they're having, which is zero party data. They're saying this happened, but we're using that data in a way to influence people who aren't our customers to buy from us, which is more like using it as first party data. Like I said, it's kind of iffy. The only two ones that are really on here are surveys and quizzes. And that's really it. Why not preference centers? Well, the reason why, and even then, surveys and quizzes, like this whole idea that you must use zero party data to become successful is on its head a huge fallacy. Two quotes. First one, Henry Ford has once been known as saying, I'm not sure I'm going to get this quote exactly right, but I know he's said it. He said, if I asked my customers what they want, they would have said a faster horse. Right? So sometimes first party data seems like a great angle to go on as far as adjusting products or making them better, but sometimes it just flies in the face of reality as far as what people actually want, which you can glean from first party data, not zero party data. Also, we have Steve Jobs here. Steve Jobs says, some people say, give the customers what they want. Zero party data. This is what they say they want. But that's not my approach. Our job is to figure out what they're going to want before they do. And now he quotes Henry Ford here too, right? But they're going to want before they do. That's first party data. It's analyzing first party data and making changes to your product and your interactions based on that, not based on zero party data. Or what I like to say is what a customer says they want. So this is where he says, if I'd asked the customer what they wanted, they should have told me a faster horse. People don't know what they want until you show it to them. That's why I never rely on market research or task it to read things that are not yet on the page. So like, if he had just said, hey, what way back before iPods even existed, we had Walkmans, right? If he had asked his customers, what do you want in a music playing device? They would not have said a brick that holds thousands of songs. What they would have said is longer unskippable times on their CD-ROMs. I'm dating myself, but we used to have these things called CDs. You'd put them into a little cassette player and play. But when you'd run, the laser would bounce off of the CD and your song would skip. So it didn't work very well as far as if you're using them in activity, which is the whole point of them. It's an advancement from an older technology called Walkmans, which used cassette tapes, which the cassette tape, even when jostled, still played music fine. The CDs had better song quality, and you could hold more songs on certain CDs. Sometimes you couldn't because of the way technology is, but which would allow you to hold higher quality, sound fidelity, whatever it's called, better sound quality, which made the listening experience better. But you could no longer really be as active because the more you moved, the way CDs work is a little laser reads data off the disc as it spins, and if you're bouncing around a lot, that laser can't quite line up right. So people would say, oh, longer play times, or smoother experience, less jostling, or more songs on a disc that's readable, something like that. They would not have said a little brick that lets me play music, but that's essentially what he did. Even with smartphones, you had Blackberries, and Blackberries were all the rage, and they had PDAs too, but they were sort of like these little digital notebooks before iPads and things like that. And Blackberries were the thing that all like business professionals used, which was it had a little keyboard on it, and you could like surf the web and stuff. And then here's Steve Jobs comes out with the iPhone, right? Radically changed the whole trajectory of the industry. But had he used zero party data, which is what it's called now, or simply asking the consumers, he would have been given a very different understanding or different experience as to what it is people want. So while this is coming up, and this sort of, and then they push for how you use it, I do agree you should do things like A/B testing, but I don't think you should rely as heavily on zero party data. I just don't, because the zero party data can be a lie. People will tell you a lot of times what they think they want, but it doesn't necessarily mean that is what they want. And you can glean that better by looking at first party data, second party data, and third party data, way better than zero party data. Zero party data, it's such a silly term. It's more just like, is that information useful? Of course. You want to know their name, their email, their location can give you a lot of insight in different areas that you should be advertising. For example, if you are nationwide and you notice that majority of your customers are in Texas, guess what I would recommend you do with your marketing budget? Spend a little bit more in Texas, right? You can also find out why your product is more liked in one area or the other. Another thing you could get from zero party data would be like age ranges, right? So, hey, we want to celebrate your birthday. Put down your month and year and we'll send you something nice. And then you gather this zero party data, which is the average age of your consumer, and you can use that to tailor your ads or your product to fit them. Additionally, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking your customer for feedback on your product, which you get from the support interactions, right? Which I think it had up here. somewhere where customer support interactions, somebody gives you feedback on the product or says they don't like it or they wish it had this feature or whatever, you can use that data to enhance your product. But I don't think you should abandon all ye who enter here and go straight for zero party data. I think even with restrictions, first party data, third party data, and second party data is going to still be way more valuable than anything you could get with zero party data, especially since people love to lie. If there's one thing that you can learn in any interaction is people's first nature and interaction is almost always a lie. And how you can tell this is just ask somebody how they're doing today. Like, how are you doing today? I'm doing fine. Guarantee you that's a lie most of the time, right? People aren't going to be honest and upfront with you because there's a level of trust. Now, this article builds up like, oh, you should build enough trust. Yeah, with friends and family, but with like companies and brands and products, people rarely get that friendly. Now, there may be somebody in the company that they get very close with, but that data can't be extrapolated across your entire customer base. So just something to keep an eye out. Zero party data and whatever nonsensical jargon they're coming out with next. If you ever have a question on it, drop me a line, leave me a comment, send me an email, DM me, whatever, or just wait till I come out with another video like this that says, yeah, this is kind of a bunch of bull. Anyway, till next time, this is the Profit Architect. I'll see you later.